Hello and welcome to Running Your Stories. In this episode, I'm going to be chatting with Kim Kennedy. We're going to be talking about the fastest known time that we set together as a mixed team on the Mary Towneley Loop a few weeks ago. The chat is maybe not the liveliest that we've done because with Kim being a single mother, her daughter was supposed to be sleeping in the next room and kept waking up. We had to edit out a couple of interruptions there and different things. So I think it's always great to listen to what Kim has to say. She's a fantastic runner and she's right up there winning, finishing first female on races like the Pennine Barrier 100 in 2019 and would have been racing on the Spine Flare next weekend if that race was on. So I always love talking to Kim, love running with her. We're going to try and do some recording on our next little adventure together and try and get some of the enthusiastic chat that we get out on the trails onto a podcast. So enjoy this episode. If it's a little quiet and I've had to draw things out of Kim a little, she was just trying not to disturb her daughter getting off to sleep. So bear with it. It's part of life of being an amateur runner with a full-time job, kids to look after, everything else that goes on in life. We'll do our best to make the next episode bright, breezy, and fun-packed. So enjoy the episode. I have one of my favourite guests on again today, Kim Kennedy, and we're going to talk, amongst other things, about a mixed pairs fastest known time that we did together a couple of weeks ago on the Mary Towneley Loop. So welcome, Kim.
Hi.
You're not going to go shy on me now, eh?
I'm not going to go shy.
So I'm trying to think, when did you last come on the podcast, Kim? Was it
January last year or December? Just December before.
I think, yeah, it was to talk about one of my races, I think, wasn't it? You came on to have a chat. Was it after the Lakeland 100 or something like that?
Yes, it was the Spine, yes. Wasn't it,
yeah.
I think? Yeah.
Or the Spine, yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you came over and had a chat about the Spine. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll talk more about you this time. That's what people want to hear. So, I guess we'll start off with everyone's favourite subject at the moment. How's lockdown been treating you?
It's not been too bad. I think the first couple of weeks are obviously difficult because, I mean, obviously I'm a single parent, so there's obviously that to contend with. Felt like I was managing three or four different jobs. I was obviously home tutoring, working from home, and I was just trying to manage everything else. So I think the first couple of weeks were tough, but after that, it just kind of got into the swing of things. It's not that different really for me. You know, I'm not somebody who goes out lots on a Saturday night or misses going out for meals. Obviously, I miss a few people. I mainly miss running with people as well, but otherwise, it's been pretty normal for me.
Yep. So I take it that your training's been going well during the lockdown period?
Yeah, I've continued as I were before. Pretty much, obviously within reason. Obviously, I didn't drive anywhere for obviously a long time because obviously we're at LAT, so there's a lot of running from my doorstep, finding new trails. A little bit more road running when I was doing speed work, but otherwise, yeah, just kept it up as normal.
Yeah. And then we got into the period where we're able to start running with people and traveling short distances again, and seemed like you started recceing from that point.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you going to tell us a little about what the Mary Towneley Loop is and what it's about?
Yeah. So it should be a 47-mile loop, but obviously, as we find out with the GPX, it's just less than 45 miles, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'd started using that route because I do quite a lot of running anyway on the Pennine Bridleway, and I was due to do a 30-mile run a couple of weeks after lockdown. So my plan was really just to go out and do a 15-mile out and back on that loop. Which I did, and I didn't really know that much about it, to be quite honest. At that stage, I've seen the signs, and obviously it's really well signposted up. So I've started doing a little bit more reading about it and looking at the loop, and I thought, I quite fancy doing this. And then obviously I also realised it run alongside the Pennine Way as well, which obviously connects into the spine. So I thought, oh, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me. I don't know how difficult it's going to be to navigate, but let's try something new and get me ready for sort of experiencing a few more races and getting ready to navigate a little bit more. Because obviously I tend to get lost quite a bit. I'm a bit well known for that.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, you were getting to know the loop, and then you mentioned that you'd been talking to one of your running friends about fastest known times as well.
Yeah, so one of my friends who lives down in London, I didn't know a lot about FKTs up until last year, and I still never really looked at them. But one of my friends in London, she's done a few recently. And I thought, I'm just going to have a look and see what's around here locally, and obviously what you can do with them. And obviously you can just do your own loop where nobody else obviously done it. But obviously I looked at Mary Towneley Loop, and there'd been obviously a mixed pair who were completed. I think it was in 2019, so it was last year. They used it to prepare for a race, and I looked at the time and I thought, I think that's possibly doable. So yeah, obviously I recce'd quite a bit of the route. I think there's probably about 8 to 10 miles I didn't do. I knew a section of it anyway from doing the Whitworth Trail Marathon and Ultra. And when we could drive, I drove up to Worsthorne Moor for one section, and then I drove up to the other section, where we started as well, and obviously recce'd a bit from there.
Yep. And then I guess it was around that time that I started messaging you and saying, when are we going out for a run together? And so you said, oh, well, why don't you come along and help me out on this little run I'm doing?
Yeah, I thought I was telling anybody because I'm keeping it very low key.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's where I started to get to know about it, because again, with regards to fastest known times, it's something I've been aware of and always watch with great interest when people are trying to do a fastest known time on the Pennine Way. When Pav had a go at that, and people like that, and then when Wouter set his fastest known time on Peter Pad last year, and he's been saying to me, while we've been exchanging messages about lockdown, he's been saying, oh, yeah, I'm sure you can go and get a fastest known time on some route where you live, and I keep saying I'm not that fast. But then you invited me to support you with what was absolutely your project, and I looked at it and thought, yeah, that looks okay. That looks good. Looks like a nice route. And then I started helping out with that GPX file, because you wanted to start on it. Yeah, you wanted to start in a different place to where most people start. And by the time I'd gone through that and looked at the whole route, I thought, well, maybe we should set off together. And then I think I made you make a promise as well, didn't I? Made you promise that if I was slowing you down, you would carry on without me.
You didn't, so we worked very well together.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to say I wasn't sure that I was ready to run 40 odd miles at a reasonable pace, which is why I was kind of being cautious about agreeing to run the whole thing. Especially because I guess the other thing to talk about is, technically it's been recorded as a supported effort, because your friends met us with water. Was that after about 26 or 27 miles?
Yeah, I think it ended up being 28, because I think when I looked at it, it looked about 24. So obviously that's why they were waiting for it an hour, but it was 28 miles, I think, when I clocked it.
Yeah. So that and that was the only support that we had, and it was much needed support. Couple of litres of water each, and a bit of fruit. But yeah, sorry, what were their names again?
Anne-Marie and Jonathan.
Yeah. So great shout out to Anne-Marie and Jonathan. Thanks very much for popping along and giving us some water.
Standing and getting cold and wet for an hour as well. Bless them.
Yeah, because we've been having this lovely spell of warm weather, and then of course when Kev and Kim go for a run together,
The winds, the hail, the sun. We tend to have pretty bad weather, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, although at one point I thought the weather was just watching whether you had your jacket on or not.
Yeah, that was heading as we were going towards Hurstwood Reservoir. So I literally took my jacket off when the sun was shining, put it off, and then it just started hailstorming, didn't it? Straight afterwards. I was like, I'm not putting it back on now.
I know. And you probably thought I was being mean running away from you, but I was so cold without a jacket on while it was hailstoning. I didn't want to stand still or go like just walk. I had to jog just to try and sort of keep warm, knowing that it wasn't going to last long. Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, it was technically a supported effort, but we were both running with fairly heavy packs. I think mine was just over 5 kilograms, which for anything, unless it's as serious as the spine, is a very heavy pack. Most of that was water, because I think in the end we got quite lucky. It didn't really get very warm, but the forecast suggested that the cloud could have cleared. It could have got quite warm later on, so I was being quite cautious about water.
Because you had 2 litres, didn't you? I had 1.5 litres.
Yeah, I think I had more than 2. I had about 2.5. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's getting a bit heavy. I had way too much food as well.
Yes, as did I. For a week.
Yeah.
As always.
Yeah. So yeah, we set off from Charlestown near Hebden Bridge, and up towards Studley Pike. Yeah, I've done the fell race where you run up to there and touch it and back down again, and I was glad we weren't going all the way up.
Because it's quite windy as well, weren't it, when we set off?
Yes. Yeah, it was. I can't remember which direction the wind was coming from, but certain sections of the route were extremely windy, and other sections there was no wind at all. I seem to remember. So yeah, it was interesting weather. I guess it would have put some people off.
It's definitely not the worst of we're running together, though.
No, definitely not. No, so yeah, we're running around there with our heavy packs and jackets on to start with, because it was fairly constant rain, I think, for about the first 2 hours. Yeah, and then it was on and off showers and hail and things after that. But we did get to see some of the scenery. I was trying to take a few pictures. I noticed afterwards all the pictures I took were when it was sunny, because I didn't get the camera out very much while the hail was coming down.
Yeah, I think that we got quite good views near Whitworth, didn't we? And I think also as we headed towards Hurstwood Rares, because I was showing you Pendle Hill, and you could obviously see the 3 peaks. So yeah. We've got a really good view there, as you say, Pendle Hill and the 3 peaks behind that, and really nice route. I think for me the navigation seemed very easy. Yes.
Of course, I was jumping on the back of your project, so you knew the way most of the time. So, yeah, but I think that's just why we're mentioning navigation. I know you were being very careful to make sure that we ran the official route, sort of absolutely everywhere. And I think we added a tiny little corner where we started going up that track, and then I said, oh no, it's this way, and followed the GPX, which actually took us a very slightly longer way. I think that's the only place where we really left the route, and we added a bit rather than cut a corner. Other than that, I thought we were really very, very close to the
weren't it as well? A lot of those, like those new sites, they've only been up, I think, about a year. And those things, I've followed some of those when I used to run on a Saturday, when I'm the great at dancing up around there, and they are relatively new signs, but they're very good. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very well signposted, and very, very pleasant route. A little little rocky in places, but nothing like the Lakeland sort of rocks. I would say. I did have, yeah. I think afterwards I could feel tendonitis coming on again.
Yeah.
Which I'm starting to think from the weight of the pack seems to be what sets it off for me. How's yours been since?
My ankles have been fine. I do think, I don't know if I said this to you in the messages, I do think I've been tying my I've known for a while tying my trainers too tight. I think it was the impact of tying my trainers too tight. I could see where one of them had dug right into my foot. And I was speaking to Margarita about it. She said it can happen. It did happen to her. So basically loosen up your laces. But I've been doing extra mobility on my ankles as well since then, and it seems to have helped massively.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing as well. Just extra stretches and mobility, and yeah, it was a lighter week this week, but everything's fine other than the new blisters that I got yesterday.
Oh dear.
Blisters on the arches of both feet.
Oh.
It's not pleasant. Not really quite sure how it happens either, but that's what happens when you do a road run. Yeah. So I guess back to the Mary Towneley for a moment. So I think the previous, which was an unsupported mixed pairs time, was 11 hours 39 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think our two watches were about 30 seconds or so apart from each other. Because I think it's mainly because I started mine right at the car and you started yours across the road. But we both went across the road to make sure. And so we went with I went with the slower the two times when I registered it, which was 9 hours 8 minutes 22, I think. So just over 2.5 hours off the time.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No, not at all. I think we both had in our heads around 10 hours, didn't we? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, you'd said that the only time you mentioned to me beforehand was to be under 11 hours, which was very clearly doable. But yeah, I did look at the time. I think once I realised we were definitely just going downhill to the finish, and I think it was just too far on to get under the 9 hours if we'd pushed at that point. I think it was
sprinting legs, so I didn't have that. You had that at the end. I was like, I'm not sprinting anywhere.
Yeah, but I was struggling going up the last hill though. I think that's the last couple of hills going uphill is where we lost the chance to get under 9 hours, I think. But yeah, so somebody did ask me the other day whether I thought or which of us would have done the loop faster, which I thought was a kind of an interesting, slightly inevitable question. My answer was that if we both ran it in a race, I think that you'd probably finish it faster, simply because of your mental determination. And although, as you say, I had a little bit of sort of sprinting legs left at the end, I think I just wouldn't push myself that hard. I think if we both did it solo, you'd do it faster.
No, I don't know.
No, not necessarily faster than the time we did, but faster than I would do it. I think the time we did was certainly the fastest I would do it, because it was just such a nice day out.
It was nice. Like I said, I think we spoke most of it, didn't we? Except for about 10 minutes, we were chatting. It's like a long run.
Yeah, keep saying to people, we're kind of like with a short hanging out before and after. We're probably hanging out like 9.5 hours. And I think we're chatting for 9 hours and 20 minutes. Just yeah, I think it's definitely the way I like to run. You know, it's interesting times with not having races on, and you think about, well, what's running all about for you when you haven't got the races to focus on. And I've always thought, well, it's enjoying the running is what it's about for me, and that's what our day out was. Absolutely loved it. Can we do
And
that
then
every day?
I suppose by racing, I know obviously before this year, was it last year when, well, last, no, the year before last, when I was racing every month, and everybody was like, why are you racing every month? And I was like, I don't go to race, I go to meet new people, meet up with friends, obviously who I've already met through running, to run somewhere new, and that's why I was doing it. Because that's why the racing, more about the social side.
Yeah, that's right. Because as you say, as long as you can not sort of get too hooked on the competitive side of it, because that's obviously where people end up injured and things. But I know, because I ran with you a little when you were racing the Calderdale Way, and as usual, you're just having a chat, running along, chatting with everybody.
Smiling.
Yeah. And in what place did you finish on that one?
I was way behind Lynn. She's also from Rosendale as well. She's very, very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
So yeah, it's but it's have you read the book The Happy Runner? I've probably asked you
No,
this
I've not read
10
that
times.
one. No.
Yeah, so it's what they're saying in this the Happy Runner, the book's called, and they're just saying when you just go out and enjoy yourself and relax, you actually get your best performances.
Yeah.
And I've certainly remember that happening a few times now when I've gone into races and sort of felt pressure. I know it doesn't get me the best results. It's one of the reasons why I moved on to the longer distance running, is because I find with the short distances you're out of breath, so you can't talk anyway, and with the long distance running, you can go at a nice comfortable pace and just have a chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think 40 to 100 miles is a good distance. So I think the other thing we should touch on, because it's probably the topic that you kept coming back to the most during our run, and I think other people need to hear about it a little more, is your Pennine Barrier race from last year. I say you kept coming back to it, and I've mentioned it one or two, but you did talk about it a lot. But I don't mind. It's really it's good.
Well, obviously, it's because it was the most toughest. It's the toughest run that I've done, obviously, to date. Obviously, I did the Pennine Barrier the year before, and I was like, when I got to the end of that way, and was like, I can't believe you're not doing the second loop, which at that stage it was 2 loops, it's basically the same route. And I was like, I couldn't even walk. Like, my quads were just mashed after that, because I've not done any elevation training really, and probably not a lot of trail running. But obviously, quite shortly after that, I had this grand idea to do the 100-mile Pennine Barrier, but we changed the route. So the second half was a totally different route. So obviously, yes, obviously I did that. It's actually this time last year, I did it in June. It's the same day actually as the summer span. Because obviously you passed some of the people as you were coming back down Penn against the second time. So
yeah, so Pennine Barrier, it's 100 miles, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
And how much elevation on that?
I think it's about 18,000 feet.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a hilly one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you place on that one?
First female. I think I was sixth overall. Yeah, I think I was 6th overall.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant running. But yeah, I like what you were telling me about it being the race that pushed you hardest to. Were you feeling like you couldn't continue? And
yeah, because obviously I'd had the problem with my knee anyway, and I knew when I was doing the first loop I was going fast. In fact, I was probably only a little bit slower off from the 50 time that I'd done, but I knew my knee was going to go at some point. So obviously I wanted to get the first bit and as much done as I could do in the daylight. I did actually meet somebody. I was chatting to him about 20 miles, and that kind of like got me going a little bit more, because I was like, well, I'm not that far from seeing people at 50 mile and running with somebody for 10 miles. And then obviously I was meeting Howard later on as well. He ran the rest of the race with me. So just seeing somebody in time for a little bit just kind of perks me up, because I didn't see anybody for you know, a lot of the race, between seeing him and obviously meeting up with the people who were meeting with at 50 miles. So
yeah, it was a brilliant performance, though, Kim.
it's a tough one. Well, they've got me thinking, what's next?
Yes. Well, it would have been next from now would have been the Flare next weekend, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah, this weekend.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it's not to be this year with everything else going on. So yeah, I think we've got another couple of secret projects, I think, haven't we? I'm not allowed to say what they are.
Don't like the pressure.
Yeah, no, it's really is the best way. I know when I was going into attempting the Spine this January, a lot of people were kind of talking up my chances of where I was going to place and things, and I kept trying to say to people, just I don't want the pressure. I just want to go and have an experience and have an adventure. As I keep saying to my kids, because they sometimes ask, you know, why do you want to go out and like run for 20 hours or 30 hours or however long it ends up being? And I says, well, if you can go out and play with your friends for like 48 hours, let's say, and you can eat and sleep just whenever you want, no one's telling you to, and all the rest of the time you're going to play, wouldn't you like to do that? And that's what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, just go out and play. You're very quiet today, Kim.
Yeah, I'm a bit more chatting. I'm running.
Yeah, I do keep thinking about how I can record things properly while we're running. I have to get a couple of Bluetooth microphones or something.
Yeah.
And a GoPro, and see what we can come up with. So what's your dreams for next year? Let's say when races are back on.
So obviously I'm going to do the Spine Flare. That's obviously rolling over into next year. And I'm turning a big birthday next year. I will say at what age. I'm turning 40 in September. So I'd really like to do race across Scotland as well, which I think it's 220. I don't know if it's 220 or 240. So I'd like to have a go at that as well. The reason I've chosen that one is because it's obviously you get support along the way. So I just think for me, doing something as big as a Spine, carrying all your own kit, obviously sleeping out, I think probably right now that's probably a little bit too much for me. So I just want to do something in between first before obviously I go at something else. Yeah,
well, I think you'll do very well on both of those. So maybe we should tell people about our spine recce that we did last year.
Killed me off.
Yeah, that wasn't the intention, but yeah, you were struggling with your knee around that time. Yeah, we were going to tell people about our little spine recce last year.
Yeah. Was it, when did we do that? It was November, weren't it?
Yeah, it was around November time, around the time when it was a little wet out.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So you were struggling with your knee a little, and we still managed to plan. I think that was going to be 40 odd miles, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 35, 40. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to. In fact, it was pretty much sort of up to checkpoint 1. It's in Slack or Hebden here. So we parked up there and then got a lift down to Edale, and I think we set off just as it got dark, if I remember rightly.
Yes, yeah. But no, I think we had about an hour, didn't we? And then then it got dark.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We didn't have much daylight. I remember that much. And then it started to rain.
Yes.
And then rain some more. And then some more. I think it got to the point where we started thinking we couldn't get any wetter, and then we had to start crossing some little streams.
little streams. Which was when we got to an age, she said to you, we're not crossing that, are we? We aren't crossing that, please.
Yeah, so the streams between Croydon and Black Hill are the ones where people usually get wet feet, because you've maybe got to go ankle deep or knee deep quite a lot of the time, and they're a bit wide to just hop across. And we got across those ones okay. They were maybe thigh deep, and yeah, we were quite wet. But then it was coming down off Black Hill, heading towards Wessenden, where the two streams there are usually little trickles, and I still need to send you the photograph from when I crossed it the other day. But yeah, I remember you stopping and saying, I can't cross that. So I got you to grab a hold behind me, and I had one arm on you, and I faced it into the water, so I was taking the weight of it and started moving sideways across the stream. And then I got to the point where I could no longer move because I had so much water pushing on me. And this is actually the one I took the picture of. It's a big like rock. It's just a big slab of rock, which meant in the running water there was just no grip there at all. If it had been rough ground, I'd have got more grip. And it was at that point I just kind of threw you across. And then you ran off and abandoned me. I had to call you back. I had to call you back so I could grab a hold of you and get some kind of leverage to be able to make it the rest of the way.
The thing is, with anything like that, I think if it was just me, I'd feel okay. But when I don't know if I said this to you on the night, but I think Billy Grace, that's the first thing I think about. With anything like that now, I might push myself further, but I think I need to get home to my daughter. So I think I'm going to end up going down there. Yeah. I won't get home to Billy Grace.
No, I mean, on a serious note, it was extremely uncomfortable kind of thing to cross, but the worst kind of thing that could have happened is we would have got swept off our feet and crashed down, and we might have, worst case, you can break a wrist or something as you land onto the rocks, because we weren't actually going to get swept far, maybe a few feet, and there was no risk of drowning or anything. Otherwise I wouldn't have thrown you across. But yeah, it was there. Then rather than carrying on up to Slack, we took a little diversion down into Marsden, because I had the keys from Mountain Rescue headquarters, and I remember you sitting in a puddle on the floor.
I couldn't move. I was literally, everything just gave up. I think that night, my hips or legs, I couldn't move. I couldn't get back up. Which didn't like me, because I think, did we do 25 miles in the end?
I think so, yeah. It was about that from Edale to Marsden. It was almost the reverse of the trigger route that we did. But yeah, it was good fun. A good test of the gear. I had to try out advice from my, what was then 8-year-old son, because we were talking about what happens when you get cold out on the trail on a night, and he said to me, he says, "Dad, just pretend you're at a disco party." And I don't know if you remember.
I do remember.
Because I had to wait for you a couple of times with your knee, and so I had to start dancing on the trail to keep warm.
Yeah. No, and I think I didn't put my waterproof trays on that night even. I learned a lesson very quick, because I've been out since and done a bit of a recce from Edale, and the weather that day was terrible. It was really, really bad winds. Yeah. We didn't really see anybody on the trail at all that day. And Kinder Skate, obviously the waterfall was going back over, so you could just feel it coming over. I put my waterproof trays on straight away, because I was like, I'm not going up there again and not being appropriately dressed and getting absolutely wet through. I was dry as a bone when I finished that run.
Good. But I think
your jacket advice as well.
Yeah. But I guess it brings up a good point. Is it's sometimes difficult for people, I think, to get into these kinds of adventures in a safe way. I think the official recce's that a lot of the races put on is a good way to do it, where you have very experienced people around you, and then find other experienced people that you can tag along with, because most people are happy for the company. Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile getting out with some experienced people, and I think it's just important to be clear with anybody you're running with what your level of experience is, and whether they're kind of happy to help you out or whatever. But we weren't ever in any real danger that night, but I think you were maybe getting close to starting to panic a bit.
Yeah. A little bit. Come on.
Yeah. It was interesting, because I know when we've been in we met running the White Rose 30, which was certainly my first ultra. Was that your first as well?
No, I think what I'd done then, I'd done Oldham Way, and I'd done the Trail Blaster 12 before that. So yeah.
So yeah, we met on that when you beat me. Then the year after, I did the 60 and you did the 100. And I think I finished my first lap ahead of you, but you finished your second lap, which was the end of my 60, well ahead of me. So yeah, I know in a race you always beat me.
You went really, really well, though, Kev. Really well.
Yeah. Well, I think I go for the more extreme kind of like UK winter races, because it's the ones where the hill skills and looking after yourself comes into it is a big part, because I haven't got the running ability to be near the front on running alone. So yeah, got to look for something else that might take things my way. So one of the pleasures that you have is being a single mother, and while you're trying to record a podcast and have a bit of a chat, yeah, so keep breaking off to see to your little angel. Yeah, it's certainly not easy at times with kids and full-time job and everything else. Yeah. So one of the things I was going to mention as well, because people keep asking, even though I think we've mentioned it a few times now, but a fastest known time, or an FKT as we keep calling it, is where it's the fastest time recorded, and recorded is an important word, around a particular route, and then you can do it as supported or unsupported. And a lot of the idea with fastest known times, for example, something like the Pennine Way, somebody would have a lot of support generally. They might run with no kit at all, and that can help them run it faster than what you can do it in race conditions, because in race conditions everybody's equal, everybody's carrying kit and everything else. So there's this wonderful website that we've started perusing called fastestknowntime.com, and that can spell out a lot of details on there. So with the Mary Towneley Loop, to register the fastest known time, we sent them each of our GPX files off our watches. So they had 2 lots of data. They really like the links into Strava. I think the reason for that, I haven't got into it with them, but I think it's because, like on ours, when they take a look at that, they can see that we've had at least tens of people in my case, maybe hundreds in your case, of people commenting and liking it. Whereas if you try to fake it in any way, so many of those people would be pointing it out. And I think so when the guy's checking everything on fastestknowntime.com, he can see, oh, that's on Strava. There's like 200 people put their kudos for Kim there. You know, it's got to be, it's very likely to be legit on that alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also sent, I think, like 20 pictures, photographs taken in different places around the route. And I purposely didn't put up the ones that were the like the Instagram modified ones, because that allows Strava to also show where the picture was taken on the Strava route. So again, you can see that the pictures are legit. So yeah, and then a quick write-up on a blog as well. So I think it was very kind of quick and easy for him to assess that what we had done was genuine. Apparently, if you want to go the next step on a bigger event, where if you want to try and get in the Guinness Book of Records, it's even more strenuous. Wouter was telling me about it on his Peter Pad route in the Netherlands. He's got in the Guinness Book of Records for that one, and there you need people to actually sign and corroborate that they've seen you in different places. And there's a number of additional things like that. I think he had 2 trackers on himself, and then other people that had ran sections with him, he had their tracking data and things as well. And then, like I say, they had to, I think, formally write and sign things. And yeah, it's an interesting business. So yeah, we might do another one or two. It's great actually. You mentioned earlier that you think I'm running well at the minute, and I think I'm enjoying running well, because generally at this stage, I mean, I was signed up for the Spine Fusion, which is the full spine, summer spine, which would be next weekend, and I would go and do that, and then my body would be absolutely ruined for some time afterwards. And I'm enjoying doing things where I'm training, doing some hard routes, but not pushing it that far, because during the lockdown times, we should be staying within our capabilities, and because there's a reason why I've been out with Mountain Rescue. My team's been out 3 times in the last 3 days, 4 casualties. So,
We've often done. We have said even on local routes, there's a lot more people out on just even lower level trails. A lot more people getting lost. I keep even me helping other people. I'm lost. Where am I going?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, it's brilliant in one way, seeing so many people out, seeing lots of people I know who are trying running, and people are getting further with their running. A lot of people, because they've got time off from work, which is unfortunate from a work point of view and their financial point of view, but it's fantastic seeing more people out and about. And to be honest, with my team, the casualties that we're going to help are all just genuine accidents. We haven't really seen anyone doing anything silly. It's just bigger volumes of people out and about, and leads to more accidents. But yeah, I was just very happy that we got the Coast Guard helicopter on Saturday night, because it's when we came from before Croydon, where we'll go past the reservoirs, and then we'll go up that valley to Black Hill. Well, the reason the Pennine Way goes that way is because if you went direct from where the reservoirs are at Torside, if you went direct from there over the hills, you go close to Dovestones Reservoir, and the ground on top of there is really wild, rugged, hard to navigate. And there are some races that go over that way, but that's where 2 people were on Saturday night. One had hurt her ankle, and then the other hurt their knee, and they were trying to find a kind of safe, easy way down off the hill, and there isn't one there. It's all really difficult ground. So yeah, I'd actually run over there just prior to lockdown, one of the last group runs that I did. And I'd been there before, but it still surprised me how rough it is. So I thought, yeah, I need to come back here when it's safe to do so. That's what we love, isn't it? The wild places.
Yes, more of a challenge.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, you're getting pretty good on the trails now, so we'll have to get you off trail before long.
I'm safer there. Well, I say that every time I fall on the flat bits.
Yeah, I find the same. I fell recently on a flat bit, and I keep hurting my shoulders when I fall because of the way I land on my arms. And then a few weeks later, I tripped when I was going through some woods, and there just wasn't anywhere safe to land. And I managed to move my feet at 5,000 miles an hour and land it and carry on running. I don't know how I did it. It just wasn't safe to fall there. Yeah, I think only fall on the safe ground.
Get up and dust yourself off and get on with it.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, you took a fall, didn't you, on the Mary Towneley Loop? I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
Only a little one, a bit of blood. I had some lovely bruises though afterwards, all the way like down my hips, my elbows. So in fact, still got a bump on now. Some lovely bruising afterwards.
Yeah, it's. I used to carry jelly babies for that. If when I fell, I'd get up and have a few jelly babies just to pick me up a bit. Yeah. But I did enjoy your vroom bars, which is the first time I've had those.
Ones, yes, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah, they were good. You did give me another one of those as well, didn't you? No, I can't find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm sure you did give me one, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't know where I've put that. It'll turn up.
Yeah, those are the caffeine ones. They are good.
Yeah. But actually, we should also mention that you're a brand ambassador now as well, aren't you?
Yes. FabFit activewear. Activewear.
Fab activewear. So is this ladies running kit?
Well, they started doing men as well.
Right.
It's a lady called Kirsty Allen. So she's a single mum as well. So yeah, she works full time, and she's obviously started this brand of sportswear off. And I was a bit apprehensive when I ordered it because, like I said, I'm obviously 5'9", so I'm obviously long body, long arm, long legs, so I do struggle with running attire. Sometimes even have to try and get like men's just to try and fit a bit better. But yeah, it's really good, really nice and long, and they fit perfectly. So yeah, really pleased about it.
Excellent. It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Right. So I think shall we wrap up and just mention again what I'm starting to think of is Kim's philosophy of running, of just going out and having a chat with some mates.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's about having fun, not taking it all too seriously.
Yep. Right. That's brilliant. Thanks for your time, Kim.
Thank you, Kev.
Thank you for listening to Running Your Stories. We'll be back with another episode soon. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram. I like to post up quite a few running pictures on there. Also on Facebook. Please like, follow, let your friends know. Listen to the podcast on iTunes or Apple Podcasts as it now is, Google Podcasts. We're hosted by Podbean. So please subscribe, tell your friends about us, and let me know if you have an interesting story that you would like to share. I'm maybe talking to one or two other podcast hosts about doing some crossover episodes and sharing more information with our audiences, maybe even around the world. So thank you and goodbye.